But let's move on to kind of the hero of the piece, really, Robert McCracken. I mean, he started off as a excellent world-class middleweight, and he's going on to greater and bigger things in the professional, in training professionally with Cole Froch and with the amateurs. He's just going from strength to strength with what he's doing with the British team. What does he mean to the team?
Well, they do have a great team of coaches. You know, Rob McCracken is performance director, but there's several other kind of podium coaches who are going to be there in the corner, who are obviously crucial, as well as the support staff. And you know, Rob McCracken always mentions them when you try to interview him. But you've got to see, you know, he is clearly the leader of the operation. And actually, the team Dr. Mike Loosemore, who's been there for years, really said, you know, he couldn't emphasise enough what a contribution Rob McCracken has made, and the way he phrased it was he kind of enabled and empowered everyone to do their jobs. So it seems like for this cycle, they've got all the right support in place, they've got all the right boxes, and Rob McCracken has got the whole machine, all the parts of the machine functioning well together. So he's got to take a lot of credit for how well they've done.
Okay, let's move on now to, I mean, it's in London. I mean, the weather's perked up ridiculously in the last few days. When will these young men and women be thinking it's their destiny, that they're reaching, you know, they've reached their peak at a time when the Olympic Games are held in their home country? I mean, how much of a factor do you think that can be in their medal hopes?
I think it's a huge factor. You know, obviously it doesn't get bigger than the Olympics, it doesn't get better boxing in your hometown. You know, and amateur boxing is a subjective sport. When the crowd roar, that kind of puts pressure on the judges to score a punch. And I think it's also helped the team in the sense that, you know, obviously a lot of top amateurs will turn professional. The fact that they had London 2012 as the goal has helped the team kind of retain their talent. So it's, you know, it was important as of when we won the bid, so that, you know, all those years ago, when these boxers were young, they could pin their dreams on this moment. So now's the time, now when it's all happening.
Well, let's just remind everyone, there is a really detailed Olympic preview that John has done in this week's Boxing News. You can find that online on our app store, boxingnewsonline.net/apps, available on the newsstands from Thursday. Also, John, you're going to be there every day and working tirelessly. The boxing, I believe, is it 11:30 it goes on till most nights? Most nights, yeah. John's going to put up a blog every day. He's going to keep everybody informed with that. We're going to have our own special microsite, boxingnewsonline.net/Olympics, and you'll be able to find all the information that John has given us there, and we're really grateful to him for that. Thanks, big man. Right, let's move on. The Irish team now. There's one or two useful-looking contenders in the Irish team as well, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if anyone's a lock for gold, Katie Tay, the Irish female lightweight, she's won everything. She's at her peak. Finally, women's boxing is in the Olympics. You know, she's a huge star over there, and she ought to be a huge star of the games. But they've got other good boxers as well. Darren O'Neill, their middleweight. You know, he's a tough operator. John Joe Nevin, bantamweight. You know, Luke Campbell only just edged him at the Worlds. Michael Conlon is a young flyweight who, you know, he can move, he can fight when he has to. You know, he came through almost out of nowhere at the Worlds, and now he'll have improved even more. So again, you know, he had a great fight with Selby back in 2011, and if they meet again, it'll probably be even better this time. They've got five men and one girl, so they've got a team of 6. But again, they're all ones to watch.
I mean, going back to Katie Taylor, I mean, she's likely to start as favourites. How difficult is it, do you think, going into the games as favourite and waiting for this for so long? It's almost harder, isn't it, with the weight of expectancy on your shoulders than it is to go in as.
Yeah, but she's been a massive favourite at every tournament she's been in, and you know, there are practical advantages. It'll be seeded, so you can get by at the start. There are only 12 girls in her weight class, so again, you don't have to win as many bouts to get to the final as you do. And yeah, so obviously it'll put pressure on her shoulders, but the judges watching and the crowd watching are kind of going to be expecting her to win. And you know, maybe that won't have any be a factor at all.
Right.
But if it is, it might help her kind of score points, touch more easily.
Okay. Well, let's focus on the USA team for a second now. Through the years, the USA team historically has been an incredible team, but just recently, the last few Olympics, the wheels have come off really. I mean, looking back at 1976, that fantastic team spearheaded by Sugar Ray Leonard, then you move forward to 1984, the likes of Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, Evander Holyfield. Is there any sign of a big haul coming from the USA team this time?
I don't know. I mean, like you say, the last Olympics they got 1 bronze medal, which they were worst return for any Olympics that they haven't boycotted. You know, it's going to be hard. I was out in Azerbaijan at the Worlds. I wasn't really that impressed by them. Obviously, Raushi Warren, their flyweight, will be in his 3rd Olympics, the first American to do that. Is the leading light of the team, but he's going to have his hands full with Selby, Russian, Misha Loyan, and Michael Conlon. Their bantamweight, Joseph Diaz, is very good. Again, he's got his work cut out, and also their welterweight, Errol Spencer, are ones to watch. But they only got 3 qualified through the Worlds, and they do have a big team, 12 men and women. But they obviously got the women who came through the Worlds, and they got 1 wild card, and the rest of the men came through at the American qualifier. So again, it's hard to judge how hard that tournament was. I know the European qualifiers was very hard. I'm not sure how hard if the American one was as hard. So it's hard to actually see them doing that well. But you know, to qualify that, they are young, and you know, certainly Rob McCracken thinks they're coming back into things.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a man to listen to.
He knows a lot more than me. So it'll be interesting. You know, the kind of pressure's on them in that sense.
Looking more at the tournament at large now, in the professional game, we've all got Floyd Mayweather at the top of our pound for pound list. We've all got Manny Pacquiao there or thereabouts. Who are the amateur equivalents? Who are the guys to really look for in this tournament?
Well, Ukrainian lightweight Vasyl Lomachenko is almost the clear #1 pound for pound. But anything can happen. You know, you could almost say that the #2 pound for pound was his Russian rival at lightweight, Albert Selimov, who got eliminated from the qualifier by Liverpool's Sam Maxwell, who was in turn eliminated himself by the Turks. So anything can happen. But Lomachenko at the moment is the man.
Okay. If we fancy seeing a few knockouts, who's really a potent hitter there in the games to look out for?
Anthony Joshua does have a big punch. He stopped a lot of his opponents at the Worlds. At the weight class below 91 kilos, the Russian Artur Beterbiev, he's a monster. You know, he was marmalising people at the Worlds. Really powerful. But then he was outboxed by the Ukrainians, brilliant heavyweight Alexander Usyk. That was a great bout. So I hope to see those two boxing again. But Beterbiev can really hit, so he's one to watch.
I mean, you're going to be in the privileged position of being ringside or thereabouts for the games. If you were not, and you could only buy a ticket for 1 day, which day would you buy a ticket for? And just tell us why.
Well, if you can afford it. The last day, August 12, is the finals.
Let's imagine we can't afford that one.
Well, I don't know how cheap they'll be on August the 6th, but then you've got the quarterfinals, women's quarterfinals. I think lightweight and middleweight quarterfinals. And the interesting thing about the Olympics is, for the boxers themselves, there's such a world of difference to their future lives and future careers between getting an Olympic medal and not getting one, which makes it the stakes are so high in the quarterfinals. So that's what makes it interesting. That's when it's almost everything or nothing.
Okay, finally, one last question. If you had to pick one or two that from this point in time you can foresee them going on to becoming an all-time great, maybe winning gold here, maybe turning professional, multiple world titles. Pick us a couple of names out.
Well, we already mentioned Lomachenko. I mean, he won the Olympics in 2008, 57 kilos. He's up at 60 now. He also got in 2008, got the Val Barker Trophy, which is the best boxer in the tournament. You know, he doesn't expect to be awarded it again, but he could well be the best boxer at this tournament. And he got a two-weight Olympic champion, and he's fantastic.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of BNTV episode 7, out on location, out in Olympic City, London 2012. Thanks a lot, John Dennon. Remember to keep tabs with what John Dennon's up to at the Olympics. boxingnewsonline.net/Olympics. We'll be posting blogs. It's going to be fascinating. Just keep involved, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully a bit closer to the action. BNTV episode 8 next week.